bigger performance stride. So according to trends, H2K should in theory be the stronger team, but according to all the pros and the opinions from coaches and players, it's ROCCAT that may still have an edge.
Yeah, they really do consistently get that praise for just being this team that you cannot underestimate. Sivir, and he banned away H2K, they banned the Zed. Now they're taking their time about the next one. Let's see what they take away here next.
Well, it's interesting to see that we have not had a single Ahri today, which is somewhat surprising because it is still 5.3 and she was really, really popular last week. But taking the Zed and the Castellan away from Nukeduck, just getting him away from those assassin picks, but LeBlanc and Ahri still up and available.
That's very true. On the other side, ROCCAT are targeting on a very different player, hitting the pool of Kasing, actually, with the Thresh and Annie off the board now. So I want to see what their plan is in what they first pick. This leaves a lot of our traditional power picks available to top-tier junglers. Rek'Sai Jarvan still up so far with the ban. It's Aurelia taken off the board. Overpower did have a monster performance on that last week.
So today's theme in the EU LCS is let the OPs through, because all three of our picks and bans thus far have had targeted bans at specific players. Kasing, in the 4 games he's played, has only played Annie and Thresh. Those are the 2 champions under his belt. So this will be the first time that we're going to see him play something different. And like Deficio mentioned in the analyst desk a little while ago, if Kasing and Hyanin are able to get an advantage in lane, it translates to the rest of the map. It's how H2K beat Elements. It's also how H2K beat SK last week. So a lot of pressure on Kasing to find another comfortable champion, but we know he can play a few. Leona's still up, Nami's still up. Janna, more importantly, still up. And I think Janna Leona could be some considerations.
That's very true. And even though some of the supports have been depleted, there's still a lot of options for ROCCAT as well. We saw them playing Morgana twice last week. Woolite played 2 Corki games. And actually, overall for Woolite, it seems like they've done so much better when they've been on these mid-game power spike champions, not trying to let him hyper carry the game, as ROCCAT picks up the Lissandra as their first choice.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you bring up. You know, for Woolite, he's played 6 champions in comparison to Hyanin's 3. So Woolite and ROCCAT still trying to find a champion combo or a playstyle that suits them. Whereas for H2K, Hyanin, a little bit more versatile in that his 3 champions can do multiple things. He's played Sivir, Corki, Graves. You know, they fit into a multitude of team comps. But just look at how slow these teams are going through the phase. In contrast to the previous game where Unicorns and SK both got what they wanted, ROCCAT and H2K, a lot more discussion and a lot more thinking, a lot more planning, maybe caught off guard by the double support bans.
Yeah, they take their time down to the wire, but in the end of the day, they pick up the Kalista and the Rek'Sai. 2 very new champions there, locked in for H2K.
So Hyanin and Lulex going to be getting their champions locked in. Again, you've got Kite, you've got Engage, you've got scaling power. I still want to see what they combo with this Kalista, if it's going to be the likes of an Alistar like we saw from Fnatic. Wouldn't be too surprised. It's a great Engage combo, great peel as well, buying time for Kalista to get damage down. But you've still got your Assassins available in the mid lane. You've still even got Lulu if H2K want to go for sort of a protect the AD carry comp. It's something that they have done in the past. As well as Rumble, keep that in mind too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the board, as we mentioned. So, I mean, you've got the Kalista coming in. That's the first time for Hyanin. But Lulex, he has 2 games on the Rek'Sai. They've won both of them. He's clearly comfortable in it. ROCCAT, on the other hand, they're going to take the Morgana pickup. They're also going to lock in LeBlanc. That's a lot of AP already in that comp.
It really, really is. And Nukeduck's going to get his traditional assassin once more. We assume that LeBlanc's going to go mid lane. 4 games played, decent stats, 13, 6, and 15. But questionable performances between the games.
Only 1 win out of that too.
We've seen ROCCAT try camp for him in the early weeks of the split. It didn't work out. We've also seen Nukeduck have better games as the week has gone on. But as it stands, it's just a lot of find a target, blow him up. You know, Frozen Tomb or Dark Binding, Distortion, Mimic Chains, etc. They just want to get somebody off the board instantly. And all of those options are going to be terrifying for a Kalista. If there's not enough protection for H2K, there's even more opportunities for ROCCAT to blow Kalista up, much like Giants tried to do earlier today, but failed.
And, you know, I like what they're doing. In light of what you're just saying, too, they're not only taking a tank here in the form of Maokai, but they have the disengage from Janna. You mentioned what was Kasing going to play, that his 2 supports so far have been off the board. It is going to be the Janna. This is going to be such a mobile bot lane that it's going to be really hard for ROCCAT to get that catch. But if they do, that's their win condition.
On the condition that Hyanin can auto-attack. there's not a lot of mobility in Kalista unless she is attacking in team fights. She gets a hop after every jump, yes, sure. But she doesn't necessarily have the greatest built-in escape, like in Ezreal, like a Tristana, like a Graves even. You know, those dashes, they are very reliant on positioning and timing. What I do like about the matchup, though, thus far, H2K have got their front line, they've got disengage from Janna, they've got an aggressive jungler in Rek'Sai. They just need to take a mid lane champion to round this out. If they want to go full protect the carry, you can go Orianna, you can go Lulu. I almost prefer Orianna for the team fight power that it can give.
On ROCCAT's side, they're going to go with what has typically been that hyper-carrying Tristana. It's picked up for Woolite. It's one of the many champions he did play. He played it twice. They've not had success on it. We'll see if that changes here. They also get the Jarvan.
So scaling again, new Tristana. We'll see how it works out, if they can put towers down. But again, disengage, you've got good power for ROCCAT. It's going to be all about finding that one target. I want to know what H2K decide to round out their team composition. Because of the fact that they've got this strong front line, they've got disengage, and they're putting a lot of pressure, a lot of faith into Hjarnan, who has been enabled. Hjarnan has shown much improved stats since Kasing has joined. The key is there enough protection to get away from Lissandra, to get away from LeBlanc? And it is going to be the Ahri lock-in. So we do get your traditional assassins for both Ryu and Nukeduck. They're just going to go head-to-head. And for H2K, mobility from your damage dealers. They want Ahri and Kalista dashing and diving around. Fnatic did it earlier with a Kassadin Kalista. And it'll be a similar kind of concept that they want to pull off.
Yeah, this is going to be an explosive game for sure. I really want to keep an eye on the mid lane matchup between Nukeduck and Ryu as the coach is there pondering after the lock-ins of all these champions. So with this comp filled out for ROCCAT's side, they historically have not been all that great in the late game. They've been beaten down. In the mid games, they've been really, really good, but they're going back to this style where they have a very strong spike towards the end of the game. What do you think about this one, Quickshot?
I actually quite like ROCCAT's team composition. There's been questions asked of some of their picks and bans in the past, but I like the fact that they have a whole lot of CC. They do have disengage power with Morgana, with Tristana, so they have the option to get rid of anybody that jumps onto them if Maokai and Rek'Sai decide to do that. So I think all of the tools are there for ROCCAT. The key is going to be this laning phase for ROCCAT to get ahead, because if they do, the only two damage threats from the side of H2K can actually catch them off guard, because of the fact that H2K are, again, banking on this duo sort of protection of mid plus AD carry.
All right, it's time for you guys to chime in after you've heard us and what we had to say. Go ahead and tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag ROCWin or H2KWin and let us know who you think came out on top. The crowd is ready. We heard them hyping up even in the delay, but here we are on to the field. ROCCAT versus H2K.
Yeah, and something that's also interesting to point out, Europe is about 2 weeks off of the Kalista hype. North America was running Kalista about 2 weeks ago. Multiple AD carries, multiple teams back to back to back, and also picking her fairly early. Last week kind of dipped off a tad as far as North America is concerned, but again, we're seeing it now picked up by the European AD carries.
And not just Freeze.
Yes, and Graves has dipped off. We're on the same patch as last week. We're on exactly the same patch, so it's interesting to see the trends and how teams are adapting and evolving their picks and bans and their team play.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see all the different regions do so many different things week after week and off of one another. So I want to see how they do end up stacking up. For now, ROCCAT are moving as 3 into this top side. They're getting spotted by a ward, though, so you mentioned the early aggression from them. They're certainly trying to live up to that right now.
Yeah, equaled by H2K. So ROCCAT invading on the top half of H2K's jungle. It is equaled, but on the bottom half. Deep wards are going to get done. We'll see if anyone wants to look for that lane swap. The one thing that you do, of course, have to highlight is this Kalista plus Janna. It's going to be a fun lane if Hjarnan and Kasing can make use of that Sentinel W damage. You can get the Eye of the Storm, get that bonus AD, get some stacks on Rend and Pierce, and all of a sudden you've got a lot of burst that can come out. So the ability to bully Woolite and Vander, if Hjarnan and Kasing can find that 2v2, I think is actually going to work out in their favor. And they've already demonstrated they can take out Forgiven and Unrated. They did that last week in great fashion with their, I believe it was Siva plus Annie Jole.
This is a slightly different one, but we'll see how it does go. The lane swap comes in completed for ROCCAT. They've yet to send anyone down bottom. Jungle Buddy system overpowered. Yanko's going to go ahead and do that.
So they decide against it. No deep vision from H2K into the lane. And we just saw ROCCAT revealing themselves top. So going to be the battle of the pushers. You know, both Janna and Morgana have the ability to push their waves with the Howling Gales and the Tormented Soil. But we need to see if Woolite and Kiana want to get the damage down onto the towers and see if they want to push them out quickly or not.
Yeah, I like this for ROCCAT's laning phase especially, at least in the bottom lane, what she's now become the top lane for them. Just because Tristana has such a typically rough start to it. Both supports very pokey, but up against the Callista, it could be really, really rough. And Woolite has been wanting to have a much more laid-back lane.
Yeah, and you know, if ROCCAT ever get to a tower with the Jarvan attack speed increase, with the changed explosive charge from Tristana and the fact that she's got a rapid fire, towers are going to go down so quickly. But what you did notice is ROCCAT stole a whole lot of Lulex's jungle from the top half of the map. It does look like it's being replied as Odoamne and Lulex are holding hands. They're using that sentinel vision to know that the buff hasn't been taken, so this is a relatively safe trade. And both teams have just said, look, we know you've got the numbers advantage on your respective half of the map. We won't go where you are, you don't come where we are, and we'll see who comes out ahead. Because again, extensive buddy system, different to what we've seen from the two previous games.
Yeah, a non-aggression pack coming in here. It's a gentleman's start, really quick shot. And we have seen this in the past when the lane swap comes in, that both teams really just say, okay, well now the jungle control is split rather than horizontally, but vertically. Oh, very early dragon start, by the way, for H2K here. Lulex just says, let's go.
And not too unsurprising, considering the way this early jungle swap or this lane swap has played out. H2K actually have impressed me with their early game decision making. About 3 weeks ago, they also did a buddy system start, which led to Odoamne and Lulex doing a 4.5-minute tower dive in the bottom lane against, I can't remember who exactly, but it was something that was very smart to see, that they took advantage of the scenario, they read where their opponents were, and a 4-minute dragon. It's not worth a whole lot right now, but it will scale, and it's going to give H2K control of that pit.
Well, to talk about the objective control that H2K's had, I mean, last week it was just absolutely phenomenal. They got 9 out of 10 dragons in their 2 games. They got all the barons. There's only 2, admittedly, but that's still controlling that one. They got almost every tower that they possibly could get. They really have been on top of the objective control, and no vision there. I mean, why would there be? It's 3 minutes into the game. Okay, they go ahead and take it. They grab the first dragon at about 4 minutes in.
Yeah, even more important than the vision was just the fact that H2K, it was so safe. They knew that nobody was there. It had led from an invade with Odoamne and Lulex moving into the jungle. But what H2K have done with their leads in the past is just accelerated the game and ended up picking up relatively convincing wins. You know, they did it against SK, they did it against Elements, which we've already mentioned. So for H2K, it's not a lane victory, but it is a map victory, and we'll need to see how they get their control. Neither AD carry went for a fast push. Neither AD carry looked for the early gold. So we could be settling in for a slightly extended laning phase, Pyro.
I think we might be doing that quick shot. Also worth noting, too, during that Dragon, Hjarnan stayed in lane the entire time. They didn't actually need him as a result. He's been able to just farm away quite safely. He's actually a little bit ahead of Woolite, not by much. Odoamne getting chased out, actually gets hit with the Dark Binding. Still a pretty tanky tree as early as this is, however.
Yeah, very interestingly, up until this point, Woolite had not scaled his explosive shots at all, had put 1 point to Q and W, and I think only just recently put those skill points in. But there's your public vote, Pyro.
Yeah, pretty close, actually. ROCCAT winning that one just by a hair. H2K, still something to prove. Oh, Lulex is moving on up.
So this is the first time that H2K have made a move into the area of the map that their opponents have control over. Support from Kasing in the top lane. They've left Hjarnan to solo farm. And Lulex, with that tremor sense, getting a reading on his opponent Yankos. So knows where he is and can try to put a challenge down. It kind of looked more like a counter gank position. It didn't look like he was trying to set something up. It's very difficult to gank a Black Shield rocket jump lane.
It's very true. It does have a lot of the mobility to move around, though. They cleared out that Scuttle Crab Shrine, but a lot of wards littering around, so easy to spot out. And even if they'd gotten the jump, there are those escapes available. So, well, Odoamne and Kasing will continue to try and grab a little bit farm back versus Lulex and Vander. The bottom lane will continue to poke it out as well.
So we need to see how this plays out. To go back to the coach's discussion from earlier, if I recall correctly, mentioning that they didn't really want to see Odoamne on a, Maokai. He's a great playmaking top laner, but his team and this composition will work well with this Maokai. We'll see what sort of impact he can have. This will only be the second time he's played this champion, but you do see now, Jarvan plus Tristana, that explosive shot, getting some damage down onto the tower, but that AoE just means Woolite takes 1 or 2 extra hits. That's 2 waves, and about 75% of the hit points is gone.
Yeah, early flag, but Jankos doesn't take it. He actually takes a lot of tower damage, but they have been able to push this one pretty far in. We'll see how they're able to do on that. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, really hasn't been too much tower damage here, but Overpow zoned out just a little bit versus Hjarnan.
So we just need to keep track of how the CS is going between the respective laners. AD carries have been uncontested for the most part. And the only time that we saw Woolite go aggressive was when he had the support of his jungler. That was obviously a few moments ago. Now that Jankos has backed away, Woolite and Vander feel safe to take this first tower of the game. It will be going down shortly. And it's just a moment. Yeah, it's just a safe farming lane. You know, 70 CS on the board. Woolite, oh, the Janna shield actually saves it.
Oh, yeah.
Did not expect that.
It will live for just another moment. Kasing keeps that tower alive. ROCCAT still able to push in, but you got to be careful as Woolite, even though he's level 6, a little bit lower here in the bottom lane. Jankos waiting in the wings to try and pick up Hjarnan if he gets a little over aggressive. Overpow, 2 levels down against him now.
Yeah, Lulex is relatively close by, but he's going the opposite direction, and there's no tunnel to rush to. So one of the things that I like seeing about on Rex size, especially in these lane swaps, is defensive tunnels as close to your lanes as possible. If Lulex had put a tunnel near the bottom outer turret, he could have the opportunity to react. He's most likely going to get 6 off this next buff, so we'll see where he decides to go. Jankos is still waiting in that bottom lane.
Yeah, tower does get taken out eventually up in the top side. This frees up Ottawamne, not have to worry about defending it too much, and you can see that duo lane backing away. Hjarnan's still staying very safe in here, so a lot of time is spent by Jankos.
Oh, not anymore. Jankos,
there we go. The flash forward. They're going to try the 1-2 combo on him, the claw, to close the distance. Teleport coming in, but Hjarnan is going down for first blood, and it's canceled by Overpow.
Yeah, flash, heal, and teleport all secured from that first blood. Jankos involved in the kill, but this time around it gets given to Overpow. And we also heard from the analyst desk, Overpow, a player that has been struggling in recent weeks. That's a good start to his game on a champion that he could carry with.
Yeah, Jankos giving that kill and that gold over to Overpow. Good team play there. And even though he is the first Blood King, the first assist isn't too bad either.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Hjarnan going to make his way towards that Blade of the Rune King first item, which has been sort of the standard here in Europe for Kallistas. Woolite going the more traditional Infinity Edge. Even CS basically across the board. And that was that sort of mobility side of the question we talk about. When you look at a Kallista, yes, she can dash and chase and get very good damage down with that rend. But the moment Alessandra, LeBlanc, even a Morgana lock her down, so easy to kill.
Yeah, I want to see how this dual lane does now that it's actually facing off against one another. Ryu in this brush, thinking he's being sneaky, but he's standing on top of a ward, and Nuke Duck is laughing in his sleeve.
Yeah, going to have the information he needs to work with. So, Ryu, we've actually not looked at this middle lane at all, to be fair.
It's been very quiet.
Focusing more on the swaps. And Nuke Duck and Ryu, even on CS, you've got a slightly more defensive start from Ryu with the MR. Nuke Duck got the makings of a DFG, albeit it's not in the game. And Dragon number 2 goes to H2K, also uncontested.
Yeah, and not only that, now they've got Hjarnan starting to scale up just a little bit. The longer the game goes, the easier it is to pick up objectives like that because you have basically an extra smite in your Callista Ren proc. It's going to be difficult for ROCCAT to contest these. They're 2 dragons to none right now. H2K continuing to control. Yeah,
I think that's a very good point. Despite the fact that H2K are a tower down, their ticking time bomb has got a much shorter fuse, and that's a great charm.
Yep, Nuke Duck is going, however, to deal more damage to Ryu than he got out against him, so I'll force the back away for just a moment. Very even on CS in that mid lane. That's the first real action we've seen, too. Overpow is actually moving down in here.
So if anybody has watched the games from earlier in the day, Fnatic were in a similar position against Giants, fell a little bit behind early, and it was their team fighting and positioning on their Callista AD carry that helped them win Dragon fights from about the 22nd minute onwards. Or a little bit earlier, in fact. ROCCAT are going to need to do what Giants could not. ROCCAT needs to use Nuke Duck to go around in from the side lane, maybe even a Jankos to get a Cataclysm down. And if you can get Hjarnan just to be in a little bit of an unopportune position, that's when they can get all of that assassination from LeBlanc from Alessandra. Because you've seen how hard a Callista can carry already.
Yeah. is definitely scary if they let that one get rolling. Overpower just keeps hanging around in this side, ringing around that river brush. Bot lane still relatively quiet. Will likely take some damage early on, but he's been playing safer since then. H2K actually trying to assert some dominance over by this Baron side. Gonna force Overpower back.
Yeah, and really defensive tunnels from Lulex. Look how deep his tunnel network is on his side of the jungle. For Lulex and Rek'Sai, this is the third time he's played the champion, and his kill participation is quite low. It's only 55% of his team's total kills when he's been on this particular champ. And one of the things that successful Rek'Sais do, especially European Rek'Sais that get kills early and get involved, is have the balance between aggressive tunnel positions as well as lanes that they can gank for. We'll see if this tower dive works out, because Odoamne's got a point-and-click route.
Yes, he does. He's going to use it right there. Overpower taken down to half his HP, throws down the tomb on himself. And Odoamne is perfectly fine to tank that tower shot up, gets out, and they take down Overpower.
Very, very well played. They landed everything they needed to. Helps when it's point-and-click. And even with the Frozen Tomb, Overpower gets shut down. So smart play, I think, from H2K. The only thing is it doesn't equate into objectives. Yes, they got a kill, but they're still down on gold. They didn't stick around to push the wave in. The minions had sort of reset. And the fact Odoamne was dropped so low, it was going to be a bit risky. So, well played. Good coordination. And the kill was picked up by Lulex as well. So that's a good start to help get this Rek'Sai into a slightly stronger position.
Yeah, Lulex himself going to start pushing on this top, but Overpower is coming back. He's going to back away, actually, after all of that. Down in the bottom lane, it's just been pretty much a bit of a CS fest as well. It looks to catch back up and close that gap. Small one, as though it is, with Yarnan.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at the itemization here for Odoamne, just to go back to this top lane, he's actually got the makings of a Righteous Glory. So not going to go for that Rod of Ages, not going to go for the slightly beefier, slightly more damage-dealing route. Going to go almost full tank. And it's just going to, again, play into the team comp that H2K want. They want Rek'Sai, Janna, Maokai to run interference, to be on that front line. And while the three of them are causing chaos and confusion and disruption, it allows Hyanan and Ryu to pick themselves up a bunch of kills. With Hyanan picking up 3 attack speed daggers, I can only assume he's going to go Blade of the Rune King into the Hurricane. Not going to go for the BT, which we saw out of Steelback earlier.
Yeah, it's a bit of a discount order before he gets into that build, so a little bit of cheap attack speed for the time being. Dragon, about 2 minutes on the clock. They set up with the Scuttle Crab Shrine, and Lulex clearing away the vision as well. So really trying to make sure that they are denying ROCCAT every chance they get. Woolite, oh, he's got a lot of spears in him. He's going to jump away, not before getting rended. Rended, is that a word?
It is now. Okay. I like that word.
Awesome. We're going to throw that in Webster's, but Odoamne, he's not going to get to stick around for just a moment. He moves back.
Forced to flash,
Yeah.
but traded top lane flash for top lane flash. What I liked from Lulex, you pointed out, with Dragon in 2 minutes, Lulex instantly is putting wards down in the enemy jungle, so H2K can make an informed decision. But Ryu, he's been caught by Nuke.
Yeah, he did get the tower, but he might be regretting it. Spirit Rush forward as Lulex comes in and pops the clones. Nuke Duck dashing away and dashing back in, actually, as Overpower comes into tag.
So Teleport was used from Overpower. That's important if Overpower does not stick around for this next Dragon, which is a minute away. We see multiple champions backing. Ari's backing, LeBlanc is backing, Tristana as well. So we need to see which items get picked up in preparation for the next fight. It's 16 minutes and a potential 3rd Dragon on the way. If H2K wanted to go for the 5-Dragon victory, they're very, very close already, and Odoamne, he might get chopped down.
Well, yeah, you mentioned going, well, okay, I'll talk about my point in just a minute, because Odoamne could be in some serious trouble. Going to Twisted Advance onto Overpower, trying to make his great escape, but there are just too many members of ROCCAT here, and Jankos is going to get himself a kill. 30 seconds on the Dragon right now. Odoamne is going to come up right before. Might have to use his teleport if they want to contest, though.
Luckily, he has teleport. His opposite number, Overpower, does not, and you can see Overpower backing, so he's going to need to quickly make his way down. Odoamne does have that Righteous Glory completed, so he's going to be able to give his team even more mobility and even more kiting in these team fights. But all of the vision that H2K had set up has been denied, has been taken out. Some tunnels.
Big range Dark Binding, but Nuke Duck coming in after the fact, and there's a teleport now. Otoame is going to spend it. They're going to look to chase down Nuke Duck. He's got no tower to fall back to, and they're just going to try to pop both of them. They're going to get one, get two. That's taken down Nuke Duck. Otoame getting the credit. Lulex now in some trouble as he got the Frozen Tomb on Woolite, trying to stay alive. He's going to manage it, but Vander is now in some trouble himself. A jungler from mid lane traded. They didn't even have the Dragon in their sights, but now they do.
Yeah, they didn't have Dragon, but they didn't even have their AD carry. H2K managed to win that team fight off a great teleport and punishing ROCCAT for, trying to chase the Dark Binding. With Rend, it's Rend versus Smite. We need to see if Jankos decides to commit. He's got no flash to get out, and he does decide to back.
There we go. There was so many spears sticking inside of that Dragon. Doesn't have the same thick scales that Smog does, apparently.
No, not the Rift Dragon.
There's only one weak spot in Smog. That's all it needed, apparently.
I'll take your word for it.
Going back to this game, H2K, 3 dragons now. Let's see how this whole thing unfolded.
Well, we need to see. We're watching the Void Rush. This was a tunnel that had actually been placed earlier and had not been cleaned out. And it's quite smart. You notice how an aggressive tunnel from Lulex all of a sudden allows him to get behind. And yes, ROCCAT managed to kill Lulex, but they focused him so much, it allowed Ryu and Otoame to keep pushing down. Again, that was a team fight that H2K took without their AD carry, and they managed to burst Woolite so low he had to back off. But well played, and that tunnel's now been cleared out, ROCCAT realizing their mistake.
Exactly. So while they didn't get the kill, and obviously a little disappointing when you can't quite finish the job, they did enough to zone him out. They've got the 3 dragons start. So unlike our earlier game where it started with 2 dragons for Giants and then completely turned around by Fnatic, it's 3 dragons to 0 still here. H2K also a slight gold lead, 2 towers to 1. However, ROCCAT have built a comp for the later game.
They have, and I actually think H2K scaled pretty well on their side too, but the risk is always going to be the flanks. I think with the buster shots from Tristana plus the Black Shield from Morgana, there's actually a few more tools available to ROCCAT to find the fight that they want, to find the engage that will allow them to jump onto Hyanin. But for the time being, ROCCAT have not managed to find that. So, Dragon's going to come up in the next few minutes. I'm lying to you because it just got taken down at about 17. So, it'll be a little while. But around the Dragon Pit is going to be ROCCAT's safest bet. If they can keep H2K in a smaller pit, have Nuke Duck flank from one side, overpower from another, and time their engage correctly, that can be how they punish the low damage threat from H2K.
Yeah, that is what they'll need to do to get back into this one. They can't really afford to give up too many more dragons if it does get into that 5th territory. That's going to be a little scary. Taking a look at the items right now, you see Lulex actually going a very tanky build after he goes ahead and finishes his warrior, going for the Aegis completed right now.
Yeah, and against the double AP, 2.5 AP threat from the Morgana as well. Smart itemization. We do see Hyanin going for the Hurricane. And it's just been a slow and steady matchup. Overall, there's slightly more CS on ROCCAT's side, thanks to the fact that Overpower does have a 20 lead over his opposite number. And Ryu has only got a 10 advantage over Nuke Duck. But Nuke Duck's almost got his death cap. He's got a Morellonomicon built up. So there's enough damage to blow up a Janna, to blow up a Kalista, or even to blow up a Ryu with that slightly higher MR.
If they can catch him, that's
the trick.
Now, see, I feel like, yes, this game has been a little more slower paced, but we're comparing to earlier today, which has just been super high octane, and Ryu's going to get a little bit of damage there out on Nuke Duck. This game has just been more, I feel like, level-headed from both teams. They're very much calculating before they go ahead and take a risk.
Yeah, and both of these teams want to keep putting wins on the board. ROCCAT are in this game at a record of 4 and 6. So they're tied down at the bottom of the table. They're not in a playoff position yet. So this would be an important win for ROCCAT, and for H2K, of course, they're looking to keep up their winning streak.
Yeah, right.
But the thing,
continue the comeback.
Yeah, the thing that's going to tip this game will be one big team fight. In a similar vein to Fnatic Giants, you see towers being traded. They've caught Lulex, but this could get risky. How quick can H2K reply?
Oh, it can't get out of there in time, at least. Otoame was moving around, but yeah, they've started to try and collapse on him here. Here we go, Vander, Black Shield on him, but the Twisted Advance goes all the same. Ryu dashing forward. Do they have enough damage to finish off Vander? No, but they're going to land the charm on Jankos anyways. He is going to burn his own flash. Tower now being fired down. Otoame, though, doesn't even want that. He wants the kills. They're going to have to back away. They do have a minion wave here, and it looks like they should be able to polish off the tower.
Let's see if Nuke Duck can reply in the bottom lane. That was was a flash. Doesn't manage to connect.
Nope, not quite enough, but meanwhile, Nukeduck just continues to chug away at this tower. Not got quite enough damage. The minion's starting to evaporate, but he's not being pushed back. H2K, they did get the one. It looks like it may be a trade. Rek'Sai Scream is just going to go towards the middle. It's going to be a while before they get there. Tower's already gone.
Yeah, but again, look at the ward network from Lulex. It's only in the top half of the map. If he'd had some slightly more more options available in the bottom half, may have been able to get behind Nukeduck. If you evaluate the trade, it ends up being even in towers, but ROCCAT gained one additional kill. They found the pick and managed to come out slightly ahead. So again, ROCCAT in a fairly even position, despite the fact that they traded these objectives. So it really, really feels like we're going to get down to one of these very big Dragon or Baron fights that might determine the entire game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a callback to where we were at the beginning of the season. Okay, is it Dragon time? Okay, is it Baron time? Otherwise, let's just try to be safe. Let's maybe make a power play if they make a mistake. But if another team's going to make a massive mistake, well, we're going to be at that farm fest. So with Hurricane completed now on Hjarnan, he's got a lot of attack speed, not a lot of damage, but he's still wave clearing like a beast.
Yeah, give him enough time, and those Ren stacks will hit really hard. But for ROCCAT, this is actually quite impressive. ROCCAT's a team that's had a pretty bad laning phase and early game for most of the split, whereas H2K has gotten better and better and better. H2K single-handedly won games in a single lane in the last couple. So for ROCCAT to go even, despite being down dragons, they're not in a terrible position. And look at their placement on the map. ROCCAT are not willing to give up this next dragon uncontested.
They're not even willing to let H2K is not even willing to let ROCCAT see this dragon. They want to keep denying that vision. It's going to be started up again, but ROCCAT are here, and they are ready to take the fight. It's going pretty low. They're going to actually turn on to Jankos, who's going to go in, tries to get it down, but the Ren procs, they've got him juked. Lulex, though, a little bit low on this one. Who's going to go down first? It looks like it's going to be Jankos, shortly followed by Overpow. H2K, Kasing, going to get pulled in. They're going to send him out onto Woolite. Otawamne was already there, but he's taken down Kasing. It is a 2-for-1 trade, but H2K have their 4th dragon to none for ROCCAT.
Yeah, and Hjarnan just went untouched that entire fight. ROCCAT were not able to get the damage down onto him. Lobbing a Janna into the opponent team is nowhere near as effective as lobbing an Alistar. So Woolite was able to escape thanks to the reset. Yeah, thanks to the reset on his rocket jump. Take a look at the damage dealers here. Yes, Lulex gets burst out by Nukeduck, but Lulex is not the integral member of the team fight. Nukeduck needs to jump on either Hjarnan or Ryu. Ryu and Hjarnan still have 100% hit points by the time ROCCAT decides to peel away. And this is where Otawamne plus Kasing jump in, but that's just basically destroyed from Woolite.
I think he got served up a kill there.
Yeah, decent attempt from ROCCAT, but just not the right people to get the damage on. So H2K, one dragon away at 23 minutes. We could see an aspect before 30 minutes on the clock, Pyra.
It's very, very possible. ROCCAT, they're not too far down in gold, and they're even on the towers, but they just haven't been controlling the Dragon Pit very well. And H2K been fighting better in the pinch. And for a team, you know, they want to scale up in the later game. Well, previously it seemed like you beat ROCCAT in the late game. At this point, H2K is saying, no, we can beat them in the mid.
H2K said they want to beat them by dragons. And
well, they've got 4.
Like, this is 9 kills. This isn't a game that's been determined by team fights or by finding a pick onto a champion. Every time a tower has fallen, it's because Team A was in position to punish Team B, or Team B reacted to a play from Team A. And because of that sort of back and forth, you do A, I do B, you do C, that's why they're even on gold, that's why they're even on towers. ROCCAT has just had 0 presence in the Dragon Pit, which is why they've given up 4. And by the time they finally started to pick a fight, they hadn't yet, they haven't found their team fight groove, and they've got a lot of making up to do. They've got one last chance before Aspect of the Dragon is secure.
Yep, they're going to have to make sure it's not given away here. Nukeduck, he himself, is going to be given away by himself. Nearly picks up Kasing. I wasn't even saying the right thing there. Otawamne going to get the jump on now. Nukeduck himself getting popped. And that is a very quick tree when he wants to get rolling. Thanks to that Righteous Glory, just like that.
Yeah, and thanks to the Righteous Glory, he got in range to follow Nukeduck after a flash. So that allowed Otawamne to lock down Nukeduck. And of course, if you miss those chains, you're not going to kill the support. So we did see Kasing put some distance, and with the numbers advantage, H2K using that Tremor Sense to get positioning on their opponents, and they're sieging the inner turrets.
Yep, just out of charm range, Janko's not going to take that much damage. They do clear the waves away, and the Sentinel. But H2K did get some serious damage on this one, and they are starting to siege off. About 1,000 gold ahead of ROCCAT. It's about the highest it's been.
I really want to go back to the beginning, the lane swap. Neither team pushed the wave until Jankos joined Woolite. And by the time that decision had been made, H2K had actually secured two dragons. They got the 4-minute dragon, then they got the 10-minute dragon. And since then, ROCCAT just have not been able to push H2K around. You know, ROCCAT sets up a kill in the top lane. H2K reply by taking an inner turret. And every time ROCCAT try to get involved, it just feels like their timing is a little off. We do see Lulex under a little bit of pressure get away.
About a pixel away, yeah. Lulex, he did get caught a couple of times, but that time was not one of them. ROCCAT continue to try and push this one out. H2K have been, but in particular, one thing that we haven't even done justice to, we've mentioned a few times, but they've just been denying so much of ROCCAT's vision to try and make sure to secure that. There's the red buff going down as ROCCAT just comes a step too late. And they just kind of haven't been on the same page as H2K have been able to rotate around the map a lot quicker than they have.
Yeah, and up until this point as well, with setups for dragons, Lulex has been able to put some deep wards in. ROCCAT has done a very good job of clearing those wards out, to be fair. So they don't last particularly long. But it gives H2K the time and the information they need. With all of the tunnels that are placed around Dragon, you can see Lulex is setting himself up. If ROCCAT want to pick a fight around here, they need to deal with all the tunnels or deal with a flank. And you've got, you know, the Chilling Smite, Locket, plus Giant Spell. You've got a Frozen Heart completed for Odawamne on Maokai. There's two pretty beefy high hit point totals, and Woolite still doesn't have any armor pen or any massive items. He's got 2 completed, but he's going to take a long time to burn through both of those front lines. Yeah,
that is going to be stark reality. This fight does start. Dragon about 35 seconds away. Vander pops the black shield on himself, avoids Kasing's knockup. Odawamne in the front. They're going to try to clear out this vision. They're going to try to find Woolite, who's going to immediately hop away, trying to start the fight off. Looks like they didn't quite have enough follow-up, got pushed back. Good dark binding by Vander to slow that one down. But all the same, it's back to the Dragon Pit.
It is, and ROCCAT have not expended anything. That was a rocket jump to safety. Woolite still has his flash, still has his summoner heal. Odawamne still got a couple seconds before that Righteous Glory comes back up, and H2K have a wave pushing against them in top. So this is really smart. ROCCAT have got presence in the river and in the bottom half of the map that they are forcing H2K away. H2K are not looking for the straight up engage. They're trying to pick off a solo target. Wait for Odawamne's Righteous Glory to come up before I expect to see him dive in.
Yeah, they're not proccing the Dragon either. They definitely don't feel safe to try this one. And now it looks like they start to bail out of the pit. Still a game of chicken between ROCCAT and H2K here as the Dragon does finally get started. Do they have enough damage to burst it down though? Yeah,
H2K could decide to go for the inner mid turret, or they want to pick a fight. Odawamne, Righteous Glory is available. And look at ROCCAT, they're just keeping the Dragon tagged.
Oh, they're stacking up. Who's going to get it, though? It looks like it's going to go over Dragon number 5 to H2K as Lulex gets the smite down, and they immediately take out Jankos. ROCCAT in full retreat. There are minions pushing on that tower, but they're not worried about it right now. They are looking for these kills. Ryu dashing in and able to get a bit of a tag here. Vander isolated, and that is going to be him going down. It's going to go over to Ryu. 2 for none. Dragon number 5.
Yeah, never gonna. I think it's risky to try go for a smite fight against a rend plus smite on the side of H2K. H2K grab the 5th dragon and really just run down ROCCAT one by one. They didn't necessarily need a phenomenal engage or to find a phenomenal pick. They just take advantage, comboing rend plus smite. I think Jankos actually hit that a little early. Didn't even get a chance to, now that I look at it. Yeah. And ROCCAT were in full retreat. The moment that Dragon was secured, the rest of the team was peeling away. Overpower wasn't in position. Nukeduck and Woolite were backing away. And Jankos was the sacrificial jungler.
Admittedly, they didn't give up as much as they could have. They didn't lose a massive.
Yes,
they just got a couple of them picked off, but you know, playing so safe can only get you so far. Peeling off the Baron right now. Overpow coming up with a pick onto Ryu. Nukeduck also down in this one. However, the Baron is going to get picked up by H2K, and they're going to clean up everyone but Vander taken off the board for the price of one Fox.
30 minutes on the clock, and H2K have got 5 Dragons and a Baron. You can see how disappointed Overpower Yankos look in your player cams at the moment. H2K have got every single tool they need to finish this game out, and they didn't take risks. They didn't put themselves in a bad position. They played it safe. Yes, we see Ryu getting blown up, but just look how quickly the members of ROCCAT die in return, especially with all of the damage mitigation Odawamne's putting out. It's just great play. It's really good play from H2K.
It really is. You saw in the bottom that they were able to grab that inhibitor in the middle, so H2K just methodically pushing in ROCCAT. They've got a pretty solid gold lead here, about 8,000 ahead. That 5 Dragons to 0 the Baron, 6 towers to 4. I mean, these guys really are the objective kings, and they're proving it once again.
Yeah, I mean, H2K, they've not chased kills, they've not chased team fights. They said, we've got an early couple of Dragons, let's just play for 5 Dragons, and that's exactly what they've done.
Kind of reminds you of SK, doesn't it?
In some ways, H2K played the lanes, I think, a little better, because when you look at H2K, you could argue, Lulex's tunnels, you could argue some of the side lanes, but that's not been the focus. H2K have said, ROCCAT on pushing our towers, ROCCAT on pushing the map, we don't need to worry about it because we can just wait for the Dragons. One thing to note, H2K are most likely going to close this game out. They will own the head-to-head versus ROCCAT 2-0.
Yeah. If they can do just that, they have all the tools, as you mentioned. It's still a pretty solid lead for them. ROCCAT, there's some life in them yet, but they certainly have to fight it out and be much more proactive than we have seen. I mean, this is a team that we mentioned should look pretty good going into the late game, but at this rate, they're not going to make it there.
And the game is very interesting because ROCCAT have not made mistakes. They've just not gone in. They are now, though.
Yeah, they're certainly going to try, but is it too little, too late? Overpower goes in, throws down the Zanya's Hourglass. Odawamne tanking up so much, and there is H2K turning on the gas. Yarden coming up with a double. Can he get more? He's going to tag in. Ryu gets one more pickup onto Woolite. 3 kills, 4 none. Inhibitor is going down here. 33 minutes into the game. H2K looking to close this one out.
They're going to close this out, Pyro. They're on the Nexus turrets.
Yep, and they're looking for even more kills. No thank you, says Nukeduck, who just hides in the safety of his fountain, but it won't save the game. Nexus turrets falling. The Nexus itself, desperate attempt, will not happen as ROCCAT goes down. H2K come up with another victory.
Five and 0. H2K undefeated with Kasing. The roster swap from 3 weeks ago is working out. And this is such a weird game because I don't feel that ROCCAT made mistakes in individual play. I feel that their shot calling is what let them down. I don't feel like they pushed the map. I don't feel they pushed Dragons. And this is a non-conventional game because it was so even for so long. It was only the Dragons, that was it. But you can't give a team 5 Dragons and expect to still win.
I agree, and this has been ROCCAT's problem for a while, is that they can last a while, they can stall, but they're just not proactive in those calls. And H2K took full advantage of that. You can see that, big smiles on their faces. And yes, since Kasing, undefeated, well played, but ROCCAT, they have a lot to think about.
Yeah, you contrast this game to last week. ROCCAT were able to punish elements. I mean, those are very serious faces from the guys, but it was a one-sided game from the Dragon control, and that was it. Everything else was even.
Yeah,
even CS.
31 minutes.
No, there were even kills up until those last couple of fights. And just to contrast that game versus last week against Elements, Kevin made some poor calls on the map, and ROCCAT punished it. They dove him, they pushed him, they played the map, and they forced objectives. Today they were like, okay, we'll wait till the Dragon fight, we'll win a Dragon fight, and then we'll be back in the game. They didn't win that fight, and then it was like, well, we don't really have anything else now.
Yeah, and this is, of course, against a team that's going to push you in and pressure you for those objectives, deny so much vision, as opposed to what Elements has been showing us so far. So, yeah, against this team that is much more proactive, against a team that has that shot calling that says, okay, we can go in, but it's going to be for the purpose of pushing them off. We don't really want to take a dedicated fight unless they get too far forward. ROCCAT played it safe, and they just got edged out. There really wasn't anything else.